Happy day learners. In today's session, we will be learning about different types of public policy. So, we have different categories of public policy has been classified by different political thinkers in the public policy academia. So, before we moving on to the categories of public policy, we should be learning what is public policy at the first hand. So, we will start with what is public policy. So, what is public policy? Public policy is a set of laws, guidelines and the actions decided and taken by the different governments in favor of the general public. And it is also the government's plan of action which will be implemented and enforced in the society for the welfare of the general public. The public policy is whatever government choose to do or choose not to do. It's a definition given by Thomas Dye. He is a professor professor of political science. He has defined the public policy is in this way: whatever the government choose to do and not choose to do. So it's up to the government. It's the government decision and the actions will be implemented in the society to for the welfare of the or the betterment of the general public and the society. So now we will move on to the types of public policy. There are different types of public policy existed. The types of public policy is basically divided based on different concepts. The first concept is the cost and benefits. So now we will look into what are the types based on its cost and benefits, the concentration of its cost and benefits. Theodore Lowy posited the most important and the prominent categorization of public policy based on its cost and benefits. So he argued that the public policies might be categorized based on the concentration of its cost and the benefits among the population. What it actually means, it highlights who bears the cost and who benefits out of this public policy. So now on this basis, we have the categorization such as the distributive policy, regulatory policy and redistributory policy. Now we will look into these concepts, these types and this typology in details. So now the first typology is the distributive policy. It is focused on using the government funds to pay for public goods and services. So it may directly impact only a certain groups of individuals, but it generally provides for the common good. What it actually means, it is planned, this type of public policy is planned for a particular segment of the society, but it costs the entire population. For example, whatever the government is trying to solve, the societal issues will be costed by the entire population. So it is coming from the government funds, but it is distributing to only to a particular section of the society. And in this type, the costs are carried out by the general population and the benefits are concentrated on a specific population. This is the first type of public policy. For example, for this type, equal job opportunities. For example, so we are looking into in the betterment of the women's wage in the economy. So we need to provide some kind of allowances or the beneficiaries to the women. That is a particular section of the society. And the next one is allocation of educational grants, which will be benefiting the students in the society. And similarly, the agricultural assistance programs, which is exclusively focused on the farmers in the society. So now we will move on to the another typology, which is distributive policy, which is slightly different from the first category. So it is concerned with the rearrangement of policies that bringing about a basic social and economic changes. For example, certain public goods and welfare services are disproportionately divided among the certain segments of the society. So all these goods and services are streamlined through the distributive policies. For example, in simple terms, how can we define this distributive policy is? So, this is something to reduce that uh, disproportionate division or distribution of this public policy in the society. For example, some section of the society is underprivileged. How to uplift them uplift them in the society by implementing this distributive policy in the society. For example, the privileged section in the society are paying the tax, and this tax is income and the source of income for the government, and the government will redistribute this income to among the underprivileged section of the society. In the way it is reallocating the benefits and resources from one group to another group for their betterment. It is not for the betterment or welfare of the entire population, only for the some segment of the society, but this the expenses of this policy will be costed by a particular another section of the society. For example, there are tax laws, welfare policies, and policies on the land ownership. So this could be the examples for the redistributive policies. Moving on to the another typology of public policy, that one is regulatory policy, and it is intended to limit the activities of specific individuals and groups to protect the general public. It also aimed at safeguarding our welfare and allowing us to experience a better quality life. It also limits the producers in the economy in practicing profit maximizing tactics that endanger the consumer's health. For in simple words, it means it is a kind of policy that limits the actions and activities of a certain set of people or the community. It is concerned with regulating the trade, business and safety measures and public utilities. For that, we have a set of organizations and institutions which works on the behalf of the government. For example, the life insurance corporations, Reserve Bank of India, Hindustan Steel Authority, that is the Steel Authority of India, state electricity boards, the state transport corporations and state financial corporations, etc. will be acting on behalf of the government to regulate these kind of activities among the population. There are examples for the regulatory public policies are the environmental protection policies, the consumer protection laws, and the policy on migration. When we look into the concept which we have based out to classify this typology, the cost and benefits, based on that we can actually identify who bears the cost and who benefits out of this policy. Of course, who bears the cost here is those who are doing this kind of illegal activities and the kind of businesses they are in, which will be endangered to the security and the consumer's health. So those people will be the one who bears the cost. But here, who benefits out of this public policy? This is for the entire population, entire welfare of the public or the society. So now we will move on to types, that is the types by its roles and purposes. So we have, again Louis has classified these public policies into two typology, that are substantive public policy and procedural public policy. Procedural public policy is also known as the constituent public policy. So these are the typology based on its roles and purposes. So now we will look into the substantive public policy in detail. Substantive public policy is based on its purpose. So what does it mean? What actually does it mean? It addresses what the government should do. For example, it focuses on achieving the specific outcomes, and it has the vast areas of operation affecting the general welfare and development of society as a whole. It does not cater to any particular or privileged sections of the society. This is not aiming at the target population here. It is for all, and it is for a specific outcomes that has been already set by the government in the beginning of the policy formulation. For example, providing the education and employment opportunities and economic stabilization in the country, and law and order enforcement in the society, and anti-pollution legislations are some of the examples for the substantive policy. It does not have any target population, but it has some kind of specific outcomes which it needs to be achieved in the future. So, it is a kind of operation that affecting the general welfare of the society and the development of the state. And moving on to the procedural and constituent policy, which is based on its role. And these are the actions, these kind of policies are the actions taken by the government towards its structure and processes. So, it basically means that these kinds of policies are something to do with it's the government structure or government body. It brings a lot of changes in the system of the state. It deals with the adjustment and developments in the government's methods of performing their task. It relates to the creation or the improvement or the reconstruction of the government bodies. Brought life to new agencies, structures and systems that aim to increase the efficiency in delivering the results for the different sectors of the political system. The objective of having this procedural policy in the public policy realm is to increase the efficiency of the government. So, thereby they will make some changes, they will make some alterations within the system, within the organs and within the processes of the state. For example, for this procedural or constituent policies are the creation of new organs of the state, and changing the rules of the parliament and assigning the new powers to the state. And moving on to the concluding part of this session, why do we need such typology in the public policy? Of course, public policy can be categorized by its concentration of the cost and the benefits incurred and among the population, and the public policies primarily guide the allocation of the resources and thereby implementing the decisions taken by the government in the society. And that also, while doing this typology, the key determining factor is towards the development and the welfare of the country, and variety of public policy that work together to achieve an intended goal and to address a specific or societal issues. So, and moreover, and they affect our daily life, day to day life, including because this public policy is embedded in our day to day life, including education, healthcare, transportation and security and etc. And that's all about today's session. Thank you so much.